The arrogant arrival Supreme Commander Zolthar stood in the command center of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, watching the blue marble of Earth rotate slowly beneath his massive fleet. His four eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he observed the primitive world through the viewing ports. The Vorthok Empire had conquered over 60 star systems, and this backwater planet would be their easiest victory yet. Zolthar's scaled hands moved across the control console as he reviewed the intelligence. Reports. For 6 months, his scouts had studied this world called Earth. The reports painted a picture of a species barely capable of leaving their own atmosphere. Their largest rockets could barely reach their moon. Their weapons were crude chemical, explosives, and simple projectiles. Most amusing of all, they were divided into countless nations that spent more time fighting each other than developing any real defensive capabilities. The Vorthok commander's confidence was not misplaced. His fleet consisted of 300 warships, each one larger than any structure the humans had ever built. The smallest destroyer was half a mile long, while his flagship stretched across 5 miles of space. Each ship was equipped with plasma, cannons capable of turning entire continents into molten glass. Their energy shields could deflect any known weapon, and their faster-than-light engines allowed them to appear anywhere in the galaxy within hours. Commander Zex, Zolthar's second-in-command, approached with the latest reconnaissance data. The female Vorthok silver skin shimmered under the bridge lights as she handed him the report tablet. Supreme Commander, our final scans confirm the humans' technological limitations. They possess approximately 15,000 nuclear weapons, but their largest yield is equivalent to only 50 megatons. Our smallest ship's shields can absorb 10 times that amount without damage. Zolthar nodded approvingly. And their space capabilities? He asked, though he already knew the answer would amuse him. Pathetic, Zex replied. They have one small space station with 6 occupants. Their lunar base houses only 12 people and appears to be a scientific research facility. Their entire space fleet consists of a few hundred satellites, most of which are used for communication and weather monitoring. Far below on Earth's surface, the reality was quite different from what the aliens believed. In the underground complex of Global Defense Command, buried 3 miles beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Elena Vasquez watched the alien fleet through quantum sensors that the invaders couldn't detect. The 50-year-old scientist had dedicated her life to preparing for this exact moment. Analysis complete, she announced to the assembled leadership of Earth's secret defense network, the alien ships are using standard energy-based propulsion and plasma weapon systems. Their shields are designed to deflect energy attacks and projectiles traveling at conventional velocities. General Patricia Walls, the commanding officer of Earth's hidden defense forces, leaned forward at the briefing table. Are you certain? Our countermeasures will work, Dr. Elena smiled grimly. Absolutely. They're using technology we mastered and abandoned 50 years ago. While they've been perfecting energy weapons, we've been developing quantum manipulation systems. Their shields can't stop what they can't detect or understand. The truth was that Earth's apparent primitiveness was the greatest deception in galactic history. While the aliens had been watching humanity's public face, they had completely missed the shadow civilization that had been preparing for interstellar conflict for over a century. The real space program operated from hidden bases on the far side of the moon, in asteroid mining facilities, and in deep space stations that existed in quantum flux states, invisible to conventional sensors. Captain Marcus Chen monitored the alien fleet from Orbital Defense Platform 7, one of 43 defensive stations hidden throughout the solar system. Each platform was equipped with weapons that could crack planets, but they remained cloaked and silent, waiting for the moment to strike. "Sir, we're receiving the alien broadcast," reported Lieutenant Sarah Cross from her communications station. "They're transmitting on all frequencies." On screens throughout the hidden command centers, Supreme Commander Zoltha's image appeared. His reptilian features were imposing, with 4 burning red eyes and a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. When he spoke, his voice carried the arrogance of a conqueror who had never known defeat. "Primitive humans of Earth," Zolthor began, his words translated by advanced AI systems. "I am Supreme Commander Zelthor of the Vorthok Empire. Your world has been selected for incorporation into our domain. You will submit to our authority, or you will be destroyed." The alien commander paused, allowing his words to sink in. "We have conquered 62 worlds before yours. Each species thought they could resist. Each species was wrong. Look upon our fleet and despair. 300 warships surround your planet. Each one possesses the power to sterilize your countenance." Dr. Vasquez watched the broadcast with clinical interest. The aliens were following the same pattern they had used on other worlds. Overwhelming display of force, followed by an ultimatum, then systematic destruction if their demands weren't met. It was effective against civilizations that actually were primitive. "You have 1 hour to surrender unconditionally," Zoltha continued. "Transmit your acceptance on all frequencies, and your species will be allowed to serve us. Refuse, and we will demonstrate the futility of resistance by destroying your largest cities. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your ships cannot escape us. Your only choice is submission." The broadcast ended, leaving Earth's leaders in apparent silence. Around the world, the public spaces filled with panicking crowds as the alien ultimatum played on every screen and radio. But in the hidden command centers, there was only cold determination. "Phase 1 is complete," General Walsh announced. "The aliens have revealed their positions and capabilities. All units prepare for operation." Quicksilver. What the Vorthok didn't know was that Earth's hour of apparent deliberation was actually the final countdown to their destruction. Across the solar system, weapon systems that had been charging for decades reached full power. Quantum torpedoes materialized in launch tubes. Gravitational disruptors came online. And most terrifying of all, the reality anchors began their deadly work. Supreme Commander Zalthor spent the hour reviewing battle plans with his fleet commanders. The attack would be swift and decisive. First, they would destroy major population centers to break human morale. Then they would systematically eliminate any remaining resistance. Finally, they would land occupation forces to begin the process of enslaving the survivors. "Commander Zex, what is the status of our plasma cannon arrays?" Zoltha asked. "All weapons charged and ready, Supreme Commander. We can begin planetary bombardment immediately upon your order." "Excellent. And our defensive screens operating at maximum efficiency. Even if the humans possess weapons we haven't detected, our shields can absorb the combined nuclear arsenal of their planet without significant damage." Zoltha smiled, revealing rows of predatory teeth. "Then let us begin the harvest." As the hour expired, the Vorthok fleet moved into attack formation. Plasma cannons began to glow with deadly energy, targeting systems locked onto Earth's major cities. In a few moments, the planet's resistance would be broken forever. But as the alien weapons prepared to fire, something impossible happened. The empty space around Earth suddenly filled with ships. Not the crude chemical rockets the aliens expected, but sleek vessels that seemed to bend reality around them. Hundreds of human warships decloaked simultaneously, their quantum drives, creating ripples in space-time itself. Supreme Commander Zoltha stared in shock as his sensors registered the impossible. The human fleet wasn't just large, it was technologically superior. Energy readings from the Earth ships were off the scale. Their weapons were unlike anything in Vorthok databases. "Commander, how is this possible?" Zoltha demanded. "Our intelligence indicated they had no space fleet." Commander Zex was frantically checking her instruments. "Sir, these ships don't match any known human technology. They're using quantum field manipulation, gravitational control systems, and what appears to be localized space-time distortion for propulsion. Impossible, they're primitives." But even as Zelfa spoke, he knew his assumptions had been catastrophically wrong. The humans hadn't been hiding their weakness. They had been hiding their strength. The 20-minute war, Admiral Torres stood on the bridge of the Earth battleship Defiant, watching the alien fleet with the cold eyes of a predator. The 60-year-old officer had spent 4 decades preparing for this moment, training in secret, facilities and perfecting weapons that would have been considered impossible by conventional physics. "All ships, this is Admiral Torres," he broadcast to the human fleet. "The masquerade is over. These invaders came to our home expecting to find victims. Instead, they found apex predators. All units, execute Battle Plan Omega." The first shots of the war came not from the massive alien plasma cannons, but from weapons that shouldn't have existed. Quantum torpedoes materialized inside Vorthok ships, bypassing their shields entirely. The weapons didn't explode in the conventional sense. Instead, they unraveled the atomic structure of whatever they touched, turning massive warships into expanding clouds of subatomic particles. Supreme Commander Zeltha watched in horror as 12 of his destroyers simply ceased to exist. No explosions, no debris, just empty space where his ships had been moments before. "Return fire. All ships, return fire immediately." The fleet responded with a barrage of plasma fire that lit up the space around Earth like a second sun. But the human ships didn't dodge the incoming fire. Instead, they absorbed it. The energy that should have destroyed them was converted into fuel for their own weapon systems. "Impossible," Zoltha screamed. "Nothing can absorb that much energy." Dr. James Wright, the physicist who had developed Earth's quantum absorption technology, watched the battle from his hidden laboratory. "Actually, it's quite simple," he said to his assistant. "We're not absorbing the energy. We're redirecting it through dimensional rifts and using it to power our reality anchors." The reality anchors were Earth's most terrifying weapons. They didn't destroy ships by conventional means. Instead, they altered the fundamental laws of physics in localized areas. Inside an anchor field, matter behaved differently. Energy moved in impossible directions. The speed of light became variable. And most horrifying of all, the strong nuclear force that held atoms together could be selectively weakened. Commander Zex watched her instruments with growing panic as more Vorthok ships vanished from existence. "Supreme Commander, we're losing ships faster than we can target the humans. Their weapons are unlike anything in our databases." "Then we'll overwhelm them with numbers," Zoltha commanded. "All ships, full attack. Concentrate fire on their largest vessels." The Vorthok fleet launched the most devastating barrage in their military history. Thousands of plasma bolts streaked toward the human ships, carrying enough energy to vaporize entire moons. The attack was so massive that it created temporary gravitational distortions in space. But the human response was swift and terrible. Captain Marcus Chen activated the orbital defense platforms that had remained hidden throughout the system. Suddenly, the space around Earth filled with defensive fire from sources the aliens couldn't even see. Gravitational beam weapons reached out across millions of miles, crushing alien ships like tin cans. Quantum disruptors created zones where the laws of physics simply stopped working, trapping entire squadrons in bubbles of impossible space. "Sir, we've lost over 100 ships. In the last 5 minutes," Commander Zex reported, her voice cracking with fear. "Their weapons are targeting us faster than we can react." Zolthar's confidence was completely shattered. In all his years of conquest, he had never faced an enemy that could match Vorthok technology. But these humans weren't just matching it. They were demonstrating superiority that seemed impossible for such a young species. "How long have they been preparing for this?" he whispered. The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Alina Vasquez's voice echoed through the Vorthok fleet's communication systems as Earth's scientists hacked their networks with ease. "We've been waiting for you for 200 years, Commander. Ever since our deep space telescopes detected your empire's expansion pattern. 200 years. Zolthar couldn't comprehend what he was hearing. "Did you really think we were as primitive as we appeared?" Alina continued. "While you were watching our public space program struggle to reach the moon, we were building bases in other star systems. While you saw our nations fighting with conventional weapons, we were developing quantum manipulation technology that makes your plasma cannons look like stone axes." The truth was even more devastating than Zolthar could imagine. Earth's apparent backwardness had been a carefully constructed facade. The real human civilization had been preparing for galactic conflict since the first detection of alien intelligence. Every war, every technological advance, every scientific breakthrough had been part of a massive preparation for this moment. "You want to know the truth about humanity?" Elena's voice carried across the battlefield. "We're not just another species you can conquer. We're the apex predators of this galaxy. We've been waiting for someone like you to test our weapons on." As if to prove her point, the human fleet revealed its ultimate weapon. The reality anchors began working in coordination, creating a massive field that encompassed the entire alien fleet. Inside this field, the fundamental forces of the universe became humanity's tools. Ships that tried to fire their weapons found that their energy was redirected back at them. Vessels attempting to escape discovered that their engines were pushing them deeper into the trap. Most terrifying of all, the alien crews began to experience time dilation, with seconds stretching into hours from their perspective, while the battle raged around them at normal speed. "Supreme Commander," Commander Zex's words came slowly, stretched by the temporal distortion affecting their ship. "I'm detecting massive energy buildups throughout the human fleet. They're preparing for something big." Zolthar looked at his screens and saw the impossible. The human ships were beginning to merge their quantum fields, creating weapons that spanned entire solar systems. The energy readings were beyond anything he had ever witnessed. "All ships, retreat," he commanded. Full retreat to the edge of the system. But it was too late. The human fleet had created a quantum net that encompassed the entire inner solar system. No ship could escape without Earth's permission. The mighty Vorthok fleet was trapped like fish in a barrel. Admiral Torres opened communications with the alien fleet. "Supreme Commander Zolthar, this is Admiral Torres of the Earth Defense Force. You have 15 minutes to surrender unconditionally, or we will demonstrate what happens when you threaten humanity's home." You cannot defeat the entire Vorthok Empire. Zolfa replied desperately. We have thousands of ships across 60 star systems. Had Torres corrected, past tense. While you've been trying to conquer us, we've been systematically destroying your empire. Our deep strike fleets have been eliminating your bases for the past hour. Your empire no longer exists. The alien commander's blood ran cold as he realized the full scope of humanity's deception. While he had been focused on Earth, human forces had been attacking throughout Vorthok's space. The humans hadn't just been prepared for invasion, they had been prepared for total war. Impossible, Zelthor whispered. No species has ever coordinated attacks across such distances. No alien species, Torres replied. But humans have been perfecting instantaneous communication and faster than light travel for centuries. We've been watching your empire, learning your weaknesses, and preparing for this moment. As if to emphasize the point, reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. Vorthok colonies were surrendering. Military bases were being evacuated. The proud empire that had ruled 60 worlds was collapsing in a matter of minutes. You have 10 minutes to decide, Torres continued. Surrender now, and your species will be allowed to rebuild under human supervision. Refuse, and we'll demonstrate why Earth has never been successfully invaded. Commander Zex looked at her instruments and saw the final, terrifying truth. The energy readings from the human fleet were still climbing. Whatever weapon they were preparing, it was powerful enough to destroy stars. Supreme Commander, she said quietly, I recommend immediate surrender. If we continue to fight, they'll exterminate our entire species. Zelthor stared at the blue world below, the planet he had thought would be his easiest conquest. Instead, it had become the graveyard of his empire and the birthplace of a new galactic order. This is Supreme Commander Zoltha of the Vorthok Empire, he broadcast on all frequencies. We surrender unconditionally to the human forces. We request mercy for our surviving crews and civilians. The 20-minute war was over. The Vorthok Empire, which had dominated the galaxy for over 1,000 years, had been completely destroyed by a species they had dismissed as primitive. As the surviving alien ships powered down their weapons, Earth's fleet began the process of establishing humanity's dominance over the stars. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had announced its presence not as victims, but as conquerors. And any species that threatened Earth would learn the same lesson the Vorthok had. Never underestimate the apex predators of the galaxy.